Okay, guys, it is Scott here from Rebellious Noise, and I'm joined by,
Joined again by Dan from Rebellious Noise.
and that is it. We are talking about the Nations League once again. It's time for another international break, and yeah, we enjoyed the Nations League, and obviously we predicted some results for last time. They weren't all great, to be fair, but we're going to try again. We're going to have some quick fire predictions. Once again, we're going to do all of League A. Unfortunately, we won't be getting onto Leagues B, C, or D, except for a little bit of B because we'll be talking about the British and Irish teams as well. But for now, Dan, we are going to go straight into quick predictions for League A. So kicking off match day 3, because we're talking about match day 3 and 4 here. Kicking off match day 3 will be Ukraine and Germany. I am going for a 3-0 victory for Germany.
Um, yeah, I mean, I can see Germany getting their first win of the tournament in this game. Two 1-1 draws they had last time out against Switzerland and Spain, but I can see
Mm.
this being where they finally get their Nations League campaign off and running with a nice, solid 2-0 victory over the Ukraine.
Okay, one less goal for Germany for you. But yeah, I got to agree. It's got to be surely where they start picking up here. Obviously, they were tough ties, Switzerland and Spain, but no disrespect to Ukraine, but surely the easier in the group. Moving on to Spain and Switzerland. Get to this one. But I'm going to go with a 2-1 victory for Spain.
Yeah, so again, Switzerland obviously they've not won a game yet. They lost against Ukraine first time out, drew with Germany, but this time I don't see that changing, and I can see Spain defeating Switzerland by 2-1.
Okay, so moving on to the Sunday, but this is still technically match day number 3. We've got Bosnia and Herzegovina versus the Netherlands. I'm going to go with a 3-1 victory to the Netherlands. Yeah, started a bit not as strong as I would have thought, losing to Italy 1-0. Obviously, they did defeat Poland 1-0 as well. Low scoring games, but I think they'll turn it on for this one. 3-1 to the Netherlands.
Yeah, I reckon pretty much the same, but I don't think they'll concede. I think 3-0 Holland.
Okay, right. Now we move into England versus Belgium.
Skip.
Um, Obviously, we've spent a little bit more time on this one, guys, because we are obviously English, as you can see by the 3 lines on our chests. Um, yeah, not confident at all.
Not coming home, I don't think.
We've been way more confident in recent years, obviously after the Cup and even a fairly successful Nations League tournament last time round. And obviously, we were quite confident in the last round for England, but it it wasn't good. It was obviously we won the first game and then against Iceland just 1-0, and then drew against Denmark in one of the most boring games I've seen for a while. And yeah, it just felt like boring to watch England again, and that's really disheartening to say. I really hope that it picks back up from here. Um, Obviously, the squad's just recently been announced as well. A 30-man squad because Gareth likes to play games with us. Um,
It's because there's 3 games as well. Like technically, he's picking it for there's a Wales friendly just before as well. So
yeah.
that's the reason, obviously, for the 30
Mm,
players, so that he can keep people fresh and not annoy too many club managers with overplaying. I don't
yeah.
see anyone playing like 90 minutes in every game.
No. Quickly touching on the squad though, what are your biggest thoughts on it? I mean, obviously, you've got Foden and Greenwood left out, and I think rightly so. Without going into too much, everybody knows what happens. My opinion, completely unprofessional. It shouldn't be something you do when you get called up to the England squad in a pandemic. But them as players, fantastic, mine and both, and their talent. But that was definitely a bad call. So I think it is the right decision to drop them. To be fair. Uh, as far as the people that come up, you've got Maguire back after his incident as well, ironically, and obviously newcomers really, Grealish and Maitland-Niles comes back into the squad as well, which is nice to see. Two that probably long overdue their call-ups, especially Grealish, and now very happy, especially from an Arsenal point of view, to see Saka. Actually, was quite disappointed that he wasn't called up for the last round, but obviously there's a lot of interesting young ones. But yeah, great to see Saka called up.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty much of the same like mindset of view, really. What the whole thing with Foden and Greenwood. Obviously, we're not going to go into much detail on it. You know, anyone that's got the internet can obviously read up and see what happened. But you know, from an unprofessional point of view, you know, not just as a during a pandemic, it's just like something you shouldn't really be doing anyway. But you know, they're young, they'll learn.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, also you touched on like obviously the call up for Saka. There's also call ups for Harvey Barnes from Leicester. That was a bit of a strange one, really, for me. That come a bit out of left field. And I think though the most deserved one, I think, is Dominic Calvert-Lewin. You know, he has literally come into this season and he is absolutely flying. And I think it's good because I think Calvert-Lewin will take some of the burden off of Harry Kane over these games. Obviously, like you think the options through the middle that England have got in this squad, they've got Tammy Abraham, Dominic Calvert-Lewin now, Danny Ings, Harry Kane. You know, you've got Marcus Rashford can play there. Raheem Sterling's played there as well. The only thing that did strike me though was the fact that he's put Harvey Barnes and Jack Grealish down as forwards. To me, they're not forwards; they're midfielders.
Mm.
He's only picked six midfielders. Also, return for Jordan Henderson, I think, in the squad. I'm not sure was he in. I don't think he was in the previous squad.
No.
And Ben Chilwell back from injury as well.
Mm.
So it's nice to actually have an out-and-out left-footed left back in the squad. Obviously, Trippier did a job there over the last lot of international games. You know, for you guys, obviously, nice to see Maitland-Niles and Saka. Both, I think, are going to be very good players. And what's good as well is it's something that I've touched on quite a bit. Is I like flexibility with my players. You know, Maitland-Niles can play in different positions as can Saka. He can play like on the wings as well. So they both give him a lot of options. And yeah, I mean, I can see. I think the Wales game. I think you're going to see. It sounds strange, but I think the Wales team you're going to see more of a depleted squad. So I don't think you're going to see the full team. The Belgium game, you're probably going to see more of this is my first 11. Like if the
Mm.
tournament started tomorrow, this would be my team going into a tournament.
Yeah.
And then I think the Denmark game, you know, I don't want them to see the Denmark game as, oh, we can just give players a chance that have not yet had minutes. You
Mm.
know, I still want us to go out and be competitive and just be a bit better than we were in Denmark, pretty much. Because, you know, I think if anyone suffered with insomnia, you wouldn't have suffered with it after watching that game of football in the nicest way
Exactly
possible.
that. Yeah,
Um,
true. But that's exactly it. We're talking about this fresh, exciting young squad, and then we're talking about such a boring kind of result the last two games. So um, I guess we should predict this one. And you know, realistically, I can't see us winning it. I think we're going to lose 3-1.
Now, it's interesting you say that, because I was of the same ilk. I was of the same 3-1 mindset.
Mm.
But then when I look at the squad that we've got, it's like, obviously you've got a little bit more, well, I say solidarity at the back with Maguire there, but it's, you know, he's been a bit hit and miss as well, and it's just finding that right thing. I think Henderson coming back into the team is going to be like a godsend for that midfield. You know, they need that experience in the centre of that midfield, and you know, let's not forget as well, Eric Dyer can also slot into that role quite easily. So I think I wouldn't be surprised really if we saw Henderson and Dyer start in the centre of the midfield in that game.
Mm.
But yeah, I think I can see a very strong England team going out, and you know, I think Belgium will still win it, but I think it will be 3-2 to
Okay.
Belgium.
Nice to get an extra goal in your books, but yeah, I'm
I
not
mean,
massively looking forward to this one.
thing is,
I mean, they beat Iceland. What was it? 5-1. They beat Iceland. Got
yeah,
two past Denmark and didn't concede, whereas we didn't concede but didn't get a single goal.
yeah, but then it's you know it's one of them where we've got obviously we've got the firepower there to actually to cause teams problems, and I think
Mm.
we just lacked a bit of that experience against Iceland and Denmark, the likes of Maguire and Henderson, we had quite young players there. Obviously the Denmark game, one of our best players was Connor Cody, who made his international debut, and we shouldn't need to be relying on players that are making their international debut to be carrying an England team when you've got players that have won like dozens and dozens of caps for their country. But that was obviously the Maguire situation, but there should be enough English centre backs coming through that can easily slot into that role and do a job. And that there's still going to be a few like notable like omissions from the squad. Just off the top of my head, like, I'm thinking like left back wise, I'm surprised that he's not been fantastic, but I'm surprised he's not gone for like a Luke Shaw or a Brandon Williams. As a United fan, they're both English, they're both left backs, and you've got Ryan Bertrand at Southampton.
It's hard to be optimistic this round because of what happened last time round. Like as much as I'm excited about the people and join the squad. And like you say, we should have a bit more strength there with Henderson being back as well. But I don't know. We were kind of flying on more of a high last time round, and we didn't really, kind of do much with it. And this time round, I think we're going to be a bit more, faded and not as up for the fight. I feel like it's sad. I'm not quite ready to be like some people were ridiculously calling for Southgate's head already and on Twitter and stuff like that. I don't think we're anywhere near that stage just yet. But it was the first kind of set of fixtures that did get me a bit more concerned than I have been in the past few years. So I'm just a bit on a bit of a lately about England because of that. But hey, they could definitely lift it back up. But I don't think Belgium's the game to be doing that in. It'd be great if they did, but can't see it.
And this is by far like not the strongest England team that he can pick as well, like squad wise. I do think there are other players that will be coming into the squad like a little bit later on in the season, but it's good because it's getting that experience there for some of the younger players to play like decent level competitive football. I think one of the big calls that he's going to have to make, though, and that's going to be in goal. I don't see Pickford starting all three games. I would, on current form, I could quite easily see Pickford sitting on the bench for all three games, really. But I'd like to see Pope get some minutes in goal. And
the best way to do it is that Wales game, isn't it? To bring someone in and say, "Oh, well, it's this," and if they impress, then there's a reason to keep him in. The friendly is probably going to work in Southgate's favour if he does want to test anything like that.
Yeah, the only thing though is that you risk burnout. That's the only issue, and when you look at the midfielders, he's only picked 6 central midfielders. So whether he goes with like a different pairing in each game, but then that's getting no consistency. That's the only thing that I find with sometimes when you've got these like 3 games in a row. It's like, yes, you're going to want to try and give players minutes, but you're also going to want to try and get a team together. Like we know ourselves from watching domestic football. If your manager's constantly chopping and changing the team, there's going to be no cohesiveness with the team. You want to know that you've got a solid keeper, a solid back four, solid midfield, solid attack that can go out there each and every week and perform. And then that, okay, if such and such can't play, you're going to bring in somebody that also knows that style of play. And I think at the moment Southgate is still in that experimental stage as to we're going to play 3 at the back, or we're going to play 4 at the back. It's like, I think by now, this amount of time into the job, you should know what your best formation is. You should know what your best team is.
Yeah, it's. I think this Nation League is going to be very interesting. It would have been the Euros, obviously, if it took place, but it's going to be a very interesting marker for how well he's actually doing as a manager, and whether it's just the honeymoon period, basically, is still in force, or whether or not we're going to actually go somewhere with this team. But yeah, so let's move on from England at this moment, and we're going to Croatia and Sweden, 2 teams that didn't really start the best. Didn't start this campaign too well, to be fair. But I'm going to go with a Well, I'm going to go with 2-2 draw then. I'm going to keep them the same.
It's nice to see Croatia getting absolutely spanked. 8 goals in 2 games conceded. Couldn't happen to a nicer bunch of players. So, in all fairness, Croatia's not too bad. So,
Yeah, they're good guys. It's just that semi-final was a bit annoying, isn't it? But
yeah, but it is what it is. And the old Wally with a Brolly game as well.
mm,
But yeah, I think. I mean, you say the 2-2. I mean, Sweden obviously are coming into this as well on the back of 2 defeats. So, as you say, I think it's got draw written all over it, this one. I think 1-1.
okay, so moving on, we go to Poland versus Italy. If you watch my Euro 2020, what I think would have happened video and our previous Nations League video, you'll know I'm quite high on Italy at the moment. And yeah, that's not changing. Getting a 1-0 victory over the Netherlands, quite impressive. So I'm going to say they are going to beat Poland 2-0.
Yeah, this is a tough one, really. Because obviously it's not the Italian team of years gone by, and Poland they're quite up and coming. They've got some good players. Lewandowski's always got a goal in him. I would probably go with, I think 2-2 with this one. Desmond.
Okay. Moving into the next one, we've got Iceland versus Denmark. Obviously, the other 2 teams in our group that we faced previously. So I'm going to go with Denmark winning, once again, 2-0.
I think 1-1 for me.
All right, then. Moving into probably, other than our game, probably the tastiest game, France versus Portugal. I'm going to go with, this is going to be a really interesting one. I wish I kind of thought this one through already. I didn't know these 2 teams are going to face each other. I'm going to go with 2-1 Portugal.
Yeah, I think this is one of those where I think we were talking about it before when we did the previous one, where it's one of those games where it could either be no goals or boatloads of goals. And I would like to say that it's going to be on the latter side of that. So I'm going to go for a 3-3 draw in this one.
So the thing is, in the last round, we did a lot of high-scoring games, didn't we? And then as soon as they started, I remember how congested the fixture list had been and how, it was just mad. And you could see straight away a lot of these teams, even France, they're only getting 1 past Sweden. Obviously, 4 against Croatia. They'd warmed up a little bit by then. But, yeah, so it's still kind of hard to call because a lot of these games, again, it's full of a lot of very tired players.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, so you're going 3-3, yeah?
I am indeed.
Okay, yeah, I don't know, I've got a feeling about Portugal in this game. Okay, so that is it for Matchday 3. We will now move into Matchday 4 on Tuesday the 13th of October. This is going to be kicking off. We've got Ukraine versus Spain. I'm going to go for a 2-0 victory to Spain.
So Ukraine, Spain, Spain, Ukraine. I think it's going to be a victory for Spain. Obviously,
no, mate. How long have you been a rapper?
All of 5 seconds, as you can see.
Very good.
MC Donald in the house.
Right. Okay. So what's your prediction, mate?
It is going to be 0 to Ukraine and 4 for Spain. So 4-0 Spain.
Okay. That's a big juicy scoreline.
4-0 to Spain. Big juicy scoreline in this one.
Okay, right. So that moves us into Germany versus Switzerland. I'm going to go with a 2-1 German victory.
Well, match day 1, they drew 1-1 in Switzerland. So I think Germans on home soil. I think we're going to see a bit more German efficiency in this one. It's going to be a 1-0 to the Germans in this one.
Okay. Moving into Wednesday, we've now got Poland versus Bosnia and Herzegovina. I'm going to go with a 2-1 victory to Poland. I literally meant 2-0, but one came out. 2-0. 2-0 is what I'm going with. I don't even know how that happened. I feel like I need to see a doctor about that.
2-1 syndrome, isn't it? I don't know. But, I think 2-0 Poland again, yeah. 2-0 Poland.
Okay. 2-0. I can't remember what I picked now. Yeah, it was 2-0, so we do agree. Okay, moving into Italy versus the Netherlands, little rematch from the previous round of fixtures. Obviously, there Italy won 1-0. I'm going to say this time round, the Netherlands are going to get their own back, and it's going to be 2-1.
I think for me, 1-1 draw. This one, I think, yeah, both teams are going to be a bit tired. You're going to see not your usual Holland and Italy teams, but yeah, I think both teams will probably be quite a cagey game. I think, and both teams will get a goal. Yeah.
Okay, so the Dutch are clawing back just 1 point this time round, not the entire win for Dan. We move into England's next game. Will it be another boring 0-0? I feel like I'm being really down on England. If you watch our other shows, I'm not usually. Yeah, come on, a bit of optimism here. We've just lost to Belgium by my prediction, so I'm going to say we'll do it right here, and I'm going to go with a 2-1 victory to England. Come on, England.
Yeah, I think when we get any team back there under the arch at Wembley, it's a totally different atmosphere and a totally different ball game, I think.
Even with no fans, though.
Well, it's one of them, isn't it?
It's still the cold London air.
Yeah, cold London air. And yeah, so for me, I think this is going to be a comfortable-ish 2-0 win for England. Hopefully it's a bit of a better game than last time. But yeah, I think England... It's one of those, I think England should have enough to win this game. But obviously, as we've seen...
Should have had it last time, yeah.
As, it's the old cliche that I keep going back to. You don't know what England are going to turn up. You don't know what team are going to turn up. And, I think... Could it be a detriment that this is going to be our third game in a week?
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, because Wales aren't exactly a super easy task either.
No, so it's going to be like obviously a British derby, if you want to call it that. Battle of Britain against Wales. No Gareth Bale for Wales, obviously still injured, but
True.
Yeah, as I say, I think a relatively comfortable 2-0 England victory for that one.
Okay, moving into another rematch from the previous round. We got Iceland versus Belgium. Obviously, that was a 5-1 victory to Belgium. I'm going to go with a similar but not quite the same 3-1 victory to Belgium.
Ooh, only 3-1. 5-0 Belgium. I think.
Wow, so Iceland are going to do worse. Okay.
Yeah, they'll do slightly worse. Belgium will still get their 5 goals. But yeah, obviously they can probably afford to rest a few players against England. They probably won't need them, but as we say, it depends what Belgium turn up. If they've got Kevin De Bruyne, then they're always going to be a threat. So yeah, 5-0 Belgium.
Okay, so then we move into a rematch of the World Cup final. We've got Croatia versus France. Once again, I see France tipping this, and I'm going to go with a 2-0, which, if is the case, and the way we predicted the other matches and their current results, then it's not been a good start for Croatia.
Yeah, I think this could be where we say bye-bye to Croatia. I think France will have this game probably 3-1. Okay. 3-1 to France. Yeah.
And then we move into the last one from that same evening, and we've got Portugal versus Sweden. I'm going to go with a 2-1 victory to Portugal.
Yeah, so they beat Sweden 2-0 in the opening game that they played against each other, and I can see a pretty much a carbon copy of that in Lisbon. with Portugal winning the game by 2-0.
So that's pretty much it with League A. So now we're going to be moving into some of the League B fixtures where we're going to talk about Scotland, Republic of Ireland, Northern Ireland and Wales. With that being said, I guess the biggest one we're looking to is Republic of Ireland versus Wales.
Yeah, Republic of Ireland and Wales. So let's have a quick look. So Republic of Ireland came off the back of a 1-1 draw with Bulgaria and a 1-0 defeat against Finland. Wales beat Finland and they also beat Bulgaria. So obviously, this game is in the largest city in the world, which is Dublin, and that is because it keeps doubling and doubling and doubling, and that is your.
I just know when these are coming, but
that is another terrible joke for you guys. But yeah, feel free to steal that if you want. Make sure you just put a copyright to Dan at Red Noise. So anyway, but yeah, so Republic of Ireland versus Wales. I think this is going to be a relatively comfortable. It doesn't sound relatively comfortable, but a relatively comfortable 2-1 victory for Wales.
Yeah, I think Wales are definitely the stronger out of the two. Obviously, like we touched on earlier, not going to have Gareth Bale, but they've still got a lot in that squad to do it. Yeah, the last time these two faced, I think, was the World Cup qualifying game where Ireland actually beat them 1-0. That I was actually in Ireland then, in a pub, Englishman in an Irish pub, wearing a red Adidas top that kind of looked like a Wales top. So a bit of a worry.
You got some funny looks.
Yeah, I did, yeah, because first of all it was Welsh, and I opened my mouth and realised I was English.
I'm like, oh, that's bloody worse.
But I was there with Irish people, obviously, and rooting for the Republic that day. Didn't even make the World Cup at the end anyway, but they did win that game, so Ireland do have a chance against Wales here as well, I reckon. But yeah, I'm saying it's probably going to be a Welsh win, to be fair.
Any scoreline?
Yeah, 2-1, I'd say.
Oh, 2-1 as well, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Last time around, obviously, we were talking a lot about Scotland and how they're definitely looking like they're on the verge of a nice squad building here. They did quite well as well, to be fair. They weren't exactly flying, but they did well. What do you think about their upcoming games?
Yeah, I don't really think many people saw them beating the Czech Republic. Obviously, getting the 1-1 draw against Israel, you're thinking, it's a 1-1 start, but then, going away and beating Czech Republic will give them a lot of confidence.
Boosting back up, yeah.
I think the only thing that Scotland miss is the Hampden Roar, the famous that famous atmosphere when they play at Hampden Park, and they've got Slovakia in the first game, and I think it could be quite a comfortable 3-1 Scotland win in this one. I just think, home advantage from them, and as I say, it does make a difference. I think that the fact that there's no fans there, so that I think may give Slovakia a little bit of an edge. But yeah, so I do think it's going to be a Scotland victory in that one.
I'll go. I'll agree. I think Scotland, like you say, probably should have got a result against Israel, but did really well against Republic. So I'm going to go 2-0 Scotland.
2-0.
Nice one. Northern Ireland didn't have the best start themselves, though, losing 5-1 to Norway. What do you think about their chances?
Yeah, so it was, so they drew 1-1 with Romania as well, and then getting beat on the home soil 5-1 is never a good thing. But yeah, I think against Austria they're like one of these a bit of an unknown quantity, really. Like they've got some good players in their squad, but I think they're going to have too much for Northern Ireland. I can see a 3-1 Austria winning this one. I think as much as I like to kind of be like, yeah, the British teams are going to do well, I'm also realistic, and I do think Austria are going to come out of this one victorious.
I'll nick your prediction there, mate. 3 as well.
Yeah, you're going to go the same?
Same way. Okay, so then moving into match day 4 for League B, we've got Finland versus the Republic of Ireland. since I'm going to make them, I'm not making them lose to Wales. Since I predicted them to lose to Wales, I'm going to be nicer here. I'm going to say they're going to beat Finland 2-1.
Yeah, so Ireland actually lost at home in the first one against Finland 1-0. It's again, I think we touched on it on the last show, the Republic of Ireland team. It's one of those teams where, on its day, they can go out and they can pull out really big results. But then against the lesser teams, they don't really show up. So I can see a very similar result happening. I can see another 1-0 to Finland in this one.
Okay, right, and we move into, again, another return fixture of Norway versus Northern Ireland. Obviously, we just touched on the fact that Norway had beaten 5-1. If they've thrashed them that much, I can't see them losing to them, and I can't really see and because the amount of goals, I can't see it being a draw either, clawing the draw. So I'm going to go with another victory again, maybe a little bit of a kind of one, and a 3-0 victory to Norway.
Yeah, I think you're probably in the right ballpark. I mean, I'd say 4-0 Norway. I think they beat Northern Ireland obviously in their own backyard 5-1. So yeah, I think on their own patch, I think the gap in the scoreline is going to be the same, but I don't see them conceding on home soil. So I think 4-0 Norway.
Okay, right, and then we move into another return match, and we've got Scotland versus Czech Republic. As great as it was that Scotland did it last time round, and maybe they can build on that like we were just talking about, I'm going to say this one's actually going to end up being a draw. So I don't think it's going to reverse in who wins, but yeah, I do think Czech Republic will get that extra goal, and I'm going with a 2-2.
You're going for a Desmond, eh?
I'm going Desmond here.
I am going to... It's weird, because I actually thought myself, yeah, it's going to be a draw this one, but I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw rather than a 2-2. Okay. Rusev versus Tegan Knox, mate.
That's right, because the next one is Bulgaria versus Wales. If you're a wrestling fan and you got Daniel's reference there, then check out some of our wrestling content as well. But we've got Bulgaria versus Wales as the last match we're covering here, and I'm going to go with a nice little victory for Wales with 3-2.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously because of the stuff that happened with England in Bulgaria, I hope that Wales win, and I also think that Wales are going to win, and I think it's going to be quite convincing. 3-0 victory to Wales for me.
Okay, well, I just thought home patch, maybe Bulgaria get 2 goals in, but Dan's saying no. Nah. All right, well, that is it, guys. Thank you much for watching. I've been Scott and he's been Dan, as always. And we've got more Nations League content and football content coming up on the channel, so please subscribe and check out that when it comes into your feed as well. And go back and watch our other videos. We've got plenty of stuff, like I mentioned just a minute ago. We've got wrestling content, we've got music, film and TV, all that good stuff. If you like stuff, you like what we cover. So thank you very much for watching, and let us know your predictions below. Let us know who you think is going to win and who's going to lose and who's going to draw. And I think that's all the other abilities right then. I don't think it's, or games getting postponed. Maybe that'll happen. Let us know what you think is going to happen.